Good evening, everybody. How is everybody doing? Welcome to the show. This is The Burn with Mitch on 12 Ounce Sports. If you can hear me on Twitter and Facebook and Zingo TV, you can actually watch. And we hope you are watching because we have some great guests tonight on this show. Really looking forward to it. Really special. We're covering three sports, high school football, or three topics: high school football, Garnet Valley High School from Eastern Pennsylvania, outside the Philadelphia area, is doing a phenomenal job this season, and they won their fifth game in a row, and we are lucky to have at 6:40 the four senior captains coming on to talk about the game. Look forward to talking to them. Following them, Dan from DMN Takeover. He's a card collector, and he does lots of not giveaways, but he does lots of great sales. He and I are going to talk a little bit about how he got started in the baseball collecting hobby. And he's also going to talk a little bit about Loop, the app, which is something new to the card community. And we're going to talk to him, get to know him a little bit. Who are his favorite teams? What's he looking forward to with the upcoming playoffs, especially tonight? Does he have a rooting interest? I don't know. Let's find out together. And then finally, somebody who does have a rooting interest is Emily Neyman. Emily is host of Breaks Balls podcast. She is a Yankee fan. I don't know how nervous she's going to be when she comes on, but that could be a fun conversation when she gets in here because she is a devout Yankee fan. I'm sure she hates the Red Sox. And we're going to look forward to seeing what mood she's in and what she's thinking. And without DJ LeMahieu in the lineup, do the Yankees have a chance? Garrett Cole is pitching against Nathan Eovaldi, so we'll see what happens. One-game playoff, nothing like it in baseball. So looking forward to talking to her about that. A couple of shout-outs. We'll shout out the Jags on a great win. They came back. They were down for the first time. I'm sitting watching the game and saying, "Oh crap! I might have to talk to Coach Ricky after a loss. I'm not going to look forward to that." But I didn't have to do that. Coach is not here tonight. He's got something else going on. But shout out to the four guys coming on in just a few minutes. Beth Pellegrino. I'm giving a shout out to Beth's birthday today. I work with Beth at Westtown School in Westchester. She's having her birthday today. Danielle Olszewski, a Garnet Valley graduate who turns 30 today. So happy birthday, Daniello, who I call her Daniello. And Ryan Hughes, he of Swoop fame, who is no longer living here. He's living the good life in Napa, California. But he was Swoop's best friend, if you will, when he was here on the East Coast, living in the Philadelphia area. He and I were neighbors, and he was a fun guy and did a great job being the best friend of Swoop. So those are the shout outs tonight. Lots of things going on, obviously, in the sports world. NFL, Eagles didn't win, but they played a hell of a lot better than they played the week before. Don't know why people are blaming Jalen Hurts. I don't get it. If you watch the game, the defense was horrendous. And I think that's the big issue right now. They really can't stop anybody who's got a really decent quarterback, and they've run into them the last several weeks. So we're going to see what happens with the Eagles. I will actually be in Charlotte this Sunday watching the Eagles play the Carolina Panthers. So looking forward to that, first trip up to Charlotte. So my wife and I are going to be hanging out there and rooting on the Eagles. NHL playoffs. My brain is for some reason not working. Preseason NHL preseason, NBA preseason have gotten started. Good to see that both Westtown graduates, Mo Bamba and Cam Reddish, played in their games last night. Cam had a Achilles injury from, I believe, January and didn't play the rest of the year. And then Mo got a lot more playing time once Vucevic left the Orlando Magic. So looking forward to watching those two guys play NBA basketball. So we're looking forward to all that as we go forward. And you know what? We've got a couple guys here. We're gonna get them on right now. This will be a lot of fun to talk to CJ and Shane. How are you guys?
I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Good. How are you?
I gotcha.
Oh, good.
Nolan, how are you? Can you hear me, Nolan?
I think that's Max in there. There's Nolan.
Max, okay, I got him right. Oh,
yeah, I can hear you.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Terrific. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Honored that you could take the time to do this. I hope you told a lot of people at school you were doing this.
Of course.
Awesome. Fellas, I have a bunch of questions for you. And as a fan watching on YouTube, I was a little worried at halftime. I know Coach doesn't train you to get worried, but I have to ask you. It was again, congrats on the win. You guys did great. It was a struggle first half. It was almost like the Eagles game on Sunday where they couldn't stop anybody on the defensive side. So, Shane, are you playing or are you hurt?
I'm injured right now, but okay. I'd love to answer the question.
Go ahead. Go.
So you said I was going down the sideline, and when you said we're not, prepared, we don't prepare for situations where we're behind. But I was, trying to get my teammates up, and everybody was unfazed. Everybody was like, "Oh, we got this." And then we go into halftime, and it's like a factory in there. Since I'm injured, I'm still, talking to my teammates and collaborating, giving them some advice. But I get the chance to step back and see it from an outside view, and everybody's on the same page, trying to get on the same page. Nobody's yelling or blaming. I think, some things might have not went our way the first half. I mean, they were just hitting all their shots. They were playing A1 football, and they were playing great. But we knew that we could bring things back, and nobody's scared of the second half. Everybody was ready.
So there was no panic. And again, Coach Ricky and your coaches trained you to be that way. And it was funny you say that because I talked to Coach on the phone on Sunday. I said, Mike, what did you say to them at halftime? And he blurted out, nothing. I said, what? What do you mean nothing? He says, just what you said, Shane. He went in the locker room, and you guys are all in your groups, and you were figuring out what you had to do, which was awesome. So let's stick with the defense. Max, I know you're playing defense. I want to hit you on the offense side in a little bit. Nolan and CJ, I got to compliment you on that hit, man. That was awesome. You smoked them. That fumble, I was pumped after that. That was awesome. That was a great hit. Yeah. So what were you guys thinking on the defense when you go to the line during the first half? And what is in your mind as a football player when the quarterback is making his plays? He sometimes even threw the ball up and got lucky, and the kids caught it. And you're still it's still hard. You're not stopping them. So what's going through your mind, defensive guys?
I'll take this one. I know right at halftime, they were playing great in the first half. We knew we were doing our job. I know I went in. I talked with the D-line, the corners, safeties, and even the linebackers. We changed one thing, I think. I think that was the only thing we changed. We knew we were playing our game. We were playing our game pretty well. We just had to stick together and do the little things correctly. I think that was what we were doing. We were getting off our guys when the QB scrambled, not finishing the play, things like that. So I was just encouraging our guys, telling them to stick together and do our job the whole play. And I mean, we didn't change. I think we changed one thing, like I said, very little. But yeah, just sticking together, believing in ourselves.
CJ, what was that one thing?
It was our alignment up front. We changed.
Okay.
We just stick in the one alignment. We didn't change much.
So tell me, as a football fan, but not into the X's and O's, how does that work? What does that mean?
Nolan, you want to take this one? I know you're more involved.
So when we do scheme in the beginning of the week, we kind of have our formation set up front and what we want to be in. And we, as the first half unfolded, we kind of realized that that wasn't necessarily working in our favor. So Coach Al, he's a defensive genius. I love him. He's the greatest football coach I've ever had. He changed one little thing where we kind of shifted our line up front, which means that each player had a different gap responsibility than they had in the first half. And that kind of opened things up for our linebackers and our secondary, and they just made great plays in the second half.
Okay. And so on the fly, and this is what you guys have been doing. I mean, you guys have been on the team for years. You're used to this, making those adjustments, right? The key word is adjustment. So the second half, when they got the ball first, you were ready to go, right?
Yeah, I know our defensive backs, our linebackers, we didn't change anything. We doing our job, and we just stick together. We believed in ourselves too. That was a big part. We knew it. I mean, football's a game of 4 quarters. We were only halfway there, so.
And that's a training that, listen, you guys are getting, and I know two of you guys, or Max, are you the one that's going to play lacrosse?
Yeah, I'm going to play lacrosse in college.
Yeah, so that mindset that you guys get now, I mean, really helps you, like Coach, like a lot of people have said about Coach, sticks with you. It's not just a football lesson; it's kind of life lesson. Just continue to persevere and stick with the plan. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's go to the offense. Max, I got to tell you, you have been on fire this year. It's been so awesome to watch you lay those balls up. I mean, at some point, if you were doing this last year, I would have said, have you contacted anybody on the Eagles? Because Carson Wentz sucked last year, and you were amazing. And I know you're going to give a lot of credit to your offensive line and the play calling too. But what do you attribute to your success this year?
I think it's definitely, it always starts with the O-line guys. I think center Sam Detrolio and Ben Nash, Mahoney, Nolan, and Austin up front. They just set the tone for the game. We've won every game so far in the trenches, up front, O-line and D-line. And then we just have a plethora of skill guys that can go out and catch the ball and run the ball. So just getting the ball to them, let them do what they can do.
Yeah, and the new bus has been amazing. Tell me a little bit about him.
Yeah, he's been great. He stepped up when he got his opportunity, and he's worked for it. I mean, he's one of the strongest guys on the team. He's always in the weight room. I don't know. I think he squats up in the 400s, deadlifts. I don't even know how much.
A lot.
But yeah,
And it's a lot. Yeah. So yeah, Max, phenomenal to watch you guys. You direct the offense really, really well. Just by watching you, you're so disciplined on that front line. Sure, you have a couple of procedure calls, but other than that, I just see a lot of discipline, and that's again comes from experience. How have you, all of you? What is your role teaching the younger guys all about this?
I'll take this one. So I know for CJ, I mean, he knows the entire defense, and he's been able to take Van Horn under his wing. Drew Van Horn, he's one of our outside linebackers this year. And having a guy like CJ, a guy like Coach Al, and a guy like CJ, I mean, there's nothing you could ask more. CJ's been able to teach him so, and CJ is a safety, and he's teaching Drew Van Horn so much, and he's becoming a great player. And then for me, getting out, and then we have so much depth at running back. You got Jason Bernard, you got Joe Cecchio, you got Ronnie Lier's, got some guys stepping up. Sacamandi, he's stepping up this week. And then I'm able to just collaborate with Ryan Saunders, our other running back, and we're getting the plays out to them. We're able to teach them, just creating these bonds. So when you get on the field, there's no worries, and we know they're able to step up. I mean, these guys are great this year. They're taking the teaching, they're running with it.
I mean, again, you're right. It's just amazing, and you guys obviously are showing the leadership and doing what you have to do to get these kids to learn. I mean, Saunders. What is it? Was it Sanders or Saunders? I forget.
Saunders.
Saunders. Yeah, 4 touchdowns.
Yep.
You just take the ball, go do what you need to do. Guys, go block for this guy. He'll get it in. It was phenomenal. It was great. I gotta ask you, in the huddle, third quarter, 7.5 left to go. Coach calls timeout. I think you were ahead at this point. I'm thinking, all right, what's going on? And I said to my wife, I got to ask him what he said in the huddle. Do you remember that timeout with 7.5 left in the third? Did he call that pass play? Did he ask you if you wanted to make that pass play? Because that's what followed, a pass. I'm thinking, what are you passing the ball for? Run it. You got to lead.
I don't remember in particular, but I might know the moment you're talking about. But we were just prepared for it. Just listen to coach.
Okay, because I was like, again, typical football fan. What are you doing? Stop! You got to lead. Run the damn ball. Take the time off the clock. Come on, coach. What are you doing? I didn't say that to him in my phone call. Maybe I did. I don't know. But he would have laughed it off to me, not maybe to you guys. So what else stood out against with that Ridley team? Did anything surprise you at all? Or were you that well prepared? Nothing really surprised you. That quarterback was pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Their quarterback was a playmaker. Our coach said he reminded him of Ben Roethlisberger, Steelers fan. I mean, I could see it. He's a big guy, and he can make those plays. Some of those times you're holding your breath. I mean, he's shedding off tacklers and throwing it downfield and into coverage that's been there for like 10 seconds. It was crazy. And then they had some studs for sure. They had some fast guys. But I was really impressed.
Yeah. They were again they were running and playing really well the first quarter. Did that again, as you're sitting there on the sideline, offense and defense while you're on the field, I can see you're not panicking, but what else is going through your head? Like, are you saying, holy crap, this guy's fast, or holy crap, I wish I could get this quarterback down, damn it, we got to get to this guy? Is that what you're thinking at all?
Yeah, I think that was a big adjustment for our secondary. Guys like Luke Lassick and Ndozie Okolo and Max Buzenkel especially. They all stepped up. We never know. It's kind of hard to tell the speed of receivers during film and huddle all throughout the week. But we have great scout team guys who can represent it. It was just getting used to the game speed. I mean, I'll tell you that all 4 secondary members didn't have the best first half. But I think the second half we did a great way, responded, not pointing fingers to anyone. Especially guys like Luke Lassick, Saunders, the other safety, and Ndozie really stepped up in the second half and did their job. I'm super proud of those guys for doing that.
Is it true? Because I was reading an article, and I could feel it too. Does the defense guys, can you sense, and the offense, can you sense the other team getting tired?
Yeah, definitely. I think you can tell, like, the way we run the ball, like play in and play out. When our O-line in the beginning of the game, they get off the ball fast and whatnot, and still push them back. But as the game goes on, you can just tell even more when the ball is snapped and our O-line's pushing them 5 yards down the field, and you can just see the fatigue on their D-line. And that's just when our discipline and conditioning comes in and ready to get like a 15-play drive down the field and just take advantage of that.
Hey, Max, as a quarterback, I've always wondered this: that when you go in the huddle and you get the play call, do you make any other comments during in the huddle besides the play, like hold on to the ball, or come on, guys, they're tiring out? You're shaking your head. Good. Give me some things you tell them.
Just
keep it clean. I know you're in the huddle with guys, so keep it clean, okay?
Yeah. A lot of times, I just remind the backs of ball security. That's just a big thing with because we value the football a lot. And that's just the number one thing. Like, no matter what, worry about that football because that's the kind of stuff that changes games.
I love that, Shane. You were nodding your head. You were laughing.
Yeah, I have a good. So against the Downtown West game, is a vivid memory. It's when I think it might have been Sean Gallagher's second touchdown. I think it was going into half. We're in the huddle and he's calling the play. And he's like, Sean, I'm gonna just throw it up. You're gonna have to go for this one. And I go out there, I line up, and I see Max just throw the ball in the air, and to two people covering Sean, and Sean just goes up for it. It was pretty funny.
That's great. That's great. Nolan, offensive line, right? Primarily, or you're going both ways?
Yeah, I go both ways.
What's easier to play, offense or defense?
They're both difficult, physically demanding. I think that defense. Personally, I think defense might be more difficult because, it's tiring. You got to run around, chase the court, especially against Ridley when you got their quarterback extending the play, making a play like 15 seconds long. You got to run around, chase him like chicken running around with his head cut off. Offense is kind of more formal, like technique-wise. You're kind of just driving your feet downfield. They're both like physically demanding, but I think defense is probably a little bit more tiring.
Okay. Speaking of tiring, I said to Mike, I said, I bet you, even you, Shane, you probably slept really good on Friday night, huh?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's really easy to go home on Friday nights and fall asleep.
There's no going out and celebrating that win, is it? It's like, I got to get the hell home and go to bed.
Celebrate with some couple hours of sleep.
Exactly.
Yeah, usually we like to get food after, and even I was beat after that. I mean, we went home and enjoyed that rest.
That's good. So where do you guys go after the game?
We like to go to a place in Gardner Valley. It's called Double Decker.
Oh, Double Decker. Oh, yeah. A lot of pizza there, baby. All right. Question. You're looking ahead to Radnor. Okay. In the pros, in all areas, except maybe baseball, because it's a slower game. You come off a huge win. You're really tired. You're trained to look at the next game and I look ahead. They're not as strong as, Ridley. What's the mentality that you need to have to focus on a less experienced team?
Max, you got this one. Max is good with this.
Who's got it?
The way we approach it, we just approach every game the same. I mean, we have goals at the end of the season, obviously, but before we can get there, we have to be, 7-0, week 7. So we're just approaching the same way. I mean, we don't change anything in practice. We have a routine that we do every week. Like today was an offensive practice. So we're just doing the same thing. It all starts in practice. Yeah.
Guys, what have you seen? Have you seen film from Radnor yet? What are you looking at with that team on the offensive and defensive side?
Yeah, we watched.
On the defensive side, they're really similar to Ridley. They run some RPOs, both sides, slants, fans, teams. So just doing our job. Like Max was saying, we don't take any team lightly. Especially this week, it's more critical after coming off two of the more emotional games that we've played in the year, Strathaven and then Ridley. This is a huge week for us to prepare, and we can't overlook anyone. So,
from a offensive standpoint, they run a similar defense to Conestoga. I think we played them week 2, maybe, but their defense is strangely similar. So it'll be good. We've seen it before. We're just working on getting back to that this week.
Gotcha. Guys, I mean, obviously, especially on the lines, it's a lot of hitting. Max, when you've gotten hit, Shane, when you've gotten hit, CJ, you make a lot of cool, really tough tackles. Do you feel it at all the next day on Monday or what? You're all shaking your heads, yes.
Yeah, I think Nolan might get the worst of it being in the trenches. I see him in the training room. He looks like he painted himself like black and blue up and down his arm. Nuts.
Yeah, you definitely feel it the next morning. It always hurts worse the next morning than it does the night of. Wake up sore, limping around.
Yeah. And it's basically gone by Monday?
Yeah, we have a really great training staff, and we
Wow.
go in on Saturday mornings before film, and we get all the injured guys, we get them taken care of, and get them their treatment and what they need to do so that we're ready to go into next week clean and new.
Great. Knock on wood. You're pretty healthy, Shane. What's your status?
I'm looking really good. I mean, really optimistic this week. Today, I made a lot of progress sprinting and cutting. Looking at a non-contact practice tomorrow. Hopefully, be back late next week.
Okay. All right. Good. So you're not going to be in. You probably won't be they're playing this game with Radnor.
I don't think so. I don't think I'll be there this week.
Best to rest you and come back healthy for the stretch run.
Yeah.
Looking forward to. I'm hoping to be at the homecoming game. I'll be coming back home. My daughter, who's listening and watching, is getting married in 2.5 weeks. Gardner Valley grad, class of 2010, with her twin sister.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. So they get married on the 23rd. I'm back. I'm still home in PA at her house in Abington through Friday, which is the homecoming game. So I might just try and if I get permission to go watch the game, you know how that. Well, you may not know how that goes. I'm gonna try and get down there. There's nothing like being there. I really wish I could be there when postseason starts. I've been there a lot, and we're going to ask you in a few minutes about some memories. But I was going to go get and show you guys my 2007 state championship long sleeve T-shirt I got. That was, and I get the chills just talking about it because that was the girls' freshman year, and it was. My wife and I both love watching college football. Her brother played in Peoria, Illinois. He was the fullback. He played defense also, and we gave him a hell of a hard time when we were there watching him, and he fumbled the ball as a fullback on the 1-yard line. We never give up on that. But we love going to games. And that season was magical. I asked Coach, I think the first week he was on, maybe the second, and I don't know if you guys are doing this or not. It's Coach's last year. I said, do you sense a feeling, an aura of we're doing this for Coach for his last year? And he said, well, maybe, but obviously nobody's saying anything. Nobody's focusing on it. Any thoughts on that? You want to give it up or no?
I feel like last year or not, Coach Ricky deserves everything that we could possibly give him. I think if it was his first year coaching or his last, I think we'd still be working as hard as we are. I mean, I can say as a group we love him so much. We want to give the world to him. If we can go out with a bang, it'd be great. But I mean, whatever work we put in right now, we want to see him happy.
And everybody, listen, I got to tell you, in that community, everybody's proud of you guys, the way you play. It's been that way since I've been going to games since 2000 and well, they graduated in 10, so it's 7, right? So at least 14 years for me, going to most every home game and just about every away game, playoff game. We even drove up to the first year, I think, to Pottsville. What a hell of a drive that was. And the team got schnockered, but it was just still fun to be there as a community to watch you guys play. So you kind of bring us all together, which is great. So I don't know if you know that or not and how much it means, but it really means a lot to everybody there. I'm sure, I know your folks are proud as hell, your teachers and the entire community. So you're doing everybody proud. Continue to do what you're doing. I know you will. It's an honor for me to have you guys on. It's just fun to talk to some football players. We want to end with this, like I do with Mike every week. So I do a memories with Mike. Mike, give me a memory from the past because it's his last year. Anybody want to share a memory that you have with Coach?
I
know.
go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
I'm still thinking. You go.
Go ahead, Shane.
Well, in the meantime, while I think, when you said Coach, right off my head, I thought of Coach Van Wyk. I know it's not a Coach Ricky story, but back our freshman year, we did conditioning after every practice, and this particular day we were doing some we call it 300s. And we ran our first one, and I'm like, oh man, this is tiring. So I asked Coach Van Wyck, I'm like, oh, how many more we got? And everybody goes silent. All my teammates go silent, and Coach Van Wyck's just giving me the look, and he's like, this is the watered down response, but he said, if you hadn't asked, it would have been one more, but we had a lot more after that, and that's one of the memories I really have coming from that year. We talk about it all the time, and it kind of prepared me for the next three with Coach Ricky, not to ask those kind of questions.
Yeah, you learn quick. Good job, Shane. You're a smart kid.
Thank
What
you.
else, guys? Any other memories about Coach Ricky? I know I put you on the spot, and I understand if you can't think of one right now.
There's a lot to choose from.
Okay.
I remember one. There's I forget who we were playing, but it was in the regular season. It was a couple of years ago. There was a play during the game. I don't know who we were playing, but the running back on the other team, his knee had touched the ground, and he like got up and kept going, and the refs didn't see him and didn't call him down. And Coach Ricky was a little bothered by the call because it wasn't the right call, but he had shown the ref what the kid did, and he kind of did like a somersault on the ground and rolled on the ground to show the ref how the kid touched the ground. And I remember seeing it on the live stream. I was laughing. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that's good. I'm going to bring that up to him next week. I'm going to say, Mike, I didn't know you did gymnastics.
I got another sideline antics one. So last year,
real quick, I got a couple minutes.
Sure. Unfortunately, our quarterback Kevin went down, broke his collarbone. I remember Coach was super fired up, and he threw his headset on the ground. And we talked to one of our coaches all the time about this. And he picks it up. It was broken. I think his son handed it to him. He's like, he puts it on. He's trying to talk. He's like, why is my headset broken? And then our coach is like, oh, you just threw it on the ground. He's like, oh, right.
I remember that. He was pissed. He was pissed at that call because he got hit on the ground. That was a bad call. Yeah, that was amazing. And there were a couple of bad calls. I mean, I sit and look at these refs and go, what the hell are they calling? Yeah, again, you guys ignore them, but I'm sure. But it's like because Mike tells you to just let it go. But these guys drive me nuts. Hey, guys, thank you so much for coming on. Again, for me, it's an honor to talk to you guys. Continue to do what you're doing. You're doing it great. And I look forward to watching you Friday on YouTube. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you guys in person on homecoming.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. It was great.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Take care.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. All right, so that was a lot of fun. Enjoyed talking to the kids from Gardner Valley High School football team, 6-0, going for 5-0, going for 6-0 tomorrow or Friday, and potentially definitely playoffs, and we'll see how far that goes. All right, coming up next, Dan from DMN Takeover is going to be talking about a lot of sports card stuff. Let's see if Dan is in the house. Oh, that's Shane. Shane, go back away, Shane. I'll get you out of here. Bye, Shane.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get Shane will log off in a minute, and we'll get Dan coming on. Dan's been doing a lot of he calls it the DMN Takeover, and he got a lot of good sales on Twitter, and he runs through them a couple of days a week, and he's involved with something new called Loop the app. We're going to talk to him a little bit about that. I had a gentleman who developed Loop the app on my show several months ago when he was just starting, and now he's got a storefront in Miami, and Dan is going to be here to talk to us about that. Hey, Dan, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Mitch?
I'm doing great. Listen, I have to apologize. You probably didn't see this. I put everybody on Facebook as an event, And instead of putting DMN, I put DMV, like
Oh.
the Division of Vehicles. So I hope people don't go to the DMV to look for you. That's all I'm saying. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Now, Dan, where are you at? Where are you from?
So I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay.
Yep.
Good to know. The upper Midwest, where it gets a little bit cold, and hence I seem to feel that you have more takeovers in the winter than you do in this nice weather because
Oh, yeah.
you guys stay inside.
Yeah, I'd
Is
say
that
so.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
So listen, I always like having, when you guys come on, when people come on from the card, I don't know them from the card business or anywhere. I like to find out some history about them. So how did you get your love for collecting cards? Where did it come from?
Yeah. So it came as a child, actually through my great grandmother first, and then my dad continued it. My great grandmother wasn't necessarily a sports fan, but when she heard that she had a great grandson coming, she got way into it. We also had another family member who was drafted by the Cubs and who played for the St. Paul Saints here for a while. So she was in through that. So she got into baseball, then she got into football and then basketball a little bit. So I remember one Sunday she gave me my first sports card binder and a bunch of, like, I don't remember which year 90s score football cards, but I remember just loving those and paging through them over and over and over and just having my love for it develop from there.
That's great. You're great. How about that? I don't know how many other people on our Twitter family have had their great grandmother start.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome, isn't it? That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's great. That's great. I wanted to bring up a couple things first. I have been lucky enough, having done this now for 2 years, and again, with our huge hobby family that exists, but getting into the card art area. Just amazing. And I told these two folks who did these two things I'm going to show you right now, pardon me, how much I love this stuff. It's, to me, I never had this when I was a kid. And I'm not really an art guy. I don't like art. But when this baseball card art started popping up, I started freaking out. It was awesome. So this one I got, this is F Dot's satchel.
Oh, sweet. I like F Dot stuff.
Isn't it? And then we all know about Lauren Taylor, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as this went on sale, I said, I have to get this. And at some point I got to meet her. She was in Philly and I just moved from Philly. She was at the show. So this is, her Ohtani cover.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Isn't that amazing?
That's really cool.
The way she puts the images within the image and the meaningful ones, I just think that is so cool. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this new this infusion and explosion of card art. What do you think?
I think it's really cool because I think that it brought a certain amount. I mean, there's a lot of things that have brought new people into the hobby lately, but I think one of them is that even looking back at like the Project 2020 stuff, you just it put so many, at least from my end of things, it opened up my eyes to certain artists I didn't know before. And then I started finding the other things they had done. Like I knew some did some work for like breweries or just their personal work they were doing. And I have a feeling there were a certain amount of people that already knew those artists who weren't involved in the sports card industry, who then got their first taste of collecting cards through the Project 2020. And I think it's a sweet infusion of just like I'm such a fan of like worlds coming together, especially when they're not necessarily two you would put together, because I think a lot of times that the arts and sports can be viewed as such different things. Even going back as far as like high school, you think of like the jocks and
absolutely
like, kind of thing. Yeah, so I think it's such a cool.
Yeah, they never meshed, rarely meshed. Let's say rarely meshed, right? It was the guys who were the athletes, and then you had the in the day we called them unique art students, right? They didn't mesh, but this to me, I just loved it. And there are so many others out there that are doing such different stuff. Whether it's Mark, I think Mark does the mosaics. Ben Kerher with the cutting of the cards and putting together. I mean, That stuff to me is genius. The way those things come out. I am just in awe of that kind of stuff. Because number one, I'm not an artist. So I have an appreciation, even now more as an adult, to say, holy, imagine what it took to put
it takes a special mind to even like dream up what you're going to do and much less like execute on it.
Exactly. Just like Lauren's stuff. I mean, this excuse me while I go down and get it here. I mean, with his pictures of his batting, his follow through, and his pitching, and I think that's LA in the background, and on his helmet, all that detail on the helmet, it's just to me phenomenal. How she does this stuff. So yeah, it's great. All right, now we're gonna segue. I was gonna do your thoughts on Fanatics first and the loop, but here's some things. I guess I got 3 different generations of cards I wanted to show you. So I got this card. It is a 66 Hank Aaron, not in the best of shape.
It's still intact though.
And then a 90, right? This is a 90 junk wax era Tom Glavine, right? And now I just got this today from Under Stadium Lights. They had a giveaway. I won it. Look at this Bowman Chrome Mike Trout.
That's
so
awesome.
Three different generations of cards here. Amazing how this Chrome has developed through. I mean, even like the last 10 years. So, what are your thoughts on? Because I know you post a lot of different cards. That 90s era, as you know, the junk wax era, the vintage, and then you go to now these Bowman Chrome and these tops. Interesting how it's all developed. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I love seeing the way that cards have progressed over time. Like when I look at vintage, the way that some of them just look like, some of them look straight up like paintings. Like they've got that look for sure. I know that 90s is our junk wax era, but I think 90s into like early 2000s gave us some of the sweetest looking inserts.
Okay.
In my opinion, like personally in my collection, I love collecting Baltimore Ravens cards, any and all. And the 90s gave me some of my most favorite ones by far.
Okay.
But now like looking at the technology we have to make like the chromes and the prisms and silvers and whatnot, like that's such a cool thing. And then you see people like kind of refreshing and doing a new take on those old cards from our other eras, and that's such a cool thing too. So I really love seeing the progression and the way we play off of the development.
So speaking of that, thank you for the segue. I had Eric on at the Mzilla, right, with Loop. Before he actually launched. I had him about, I don't know, maybe 8 months ago, whatever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I saw him. I said, I got to get him on. I want to find out about this Loop, the app. And he's opened his store in Miami. How cool is that? So tell me, and I just noticed that you're involved with that a little bit. So explain to us how you're involved with him.
Yeah, so I'm actually brand new to it, but it was Eric and I had been talking about it since meeting at the National. I actually had my friend Ryan, who is Sports Stuff Hub on Twitter. Him and I were talking for a long time, and he was just like, I got to introduce you to a guy, I got to introduce you to my friend Eric. And I knew of Loop, but I didn't know Eric yet. So like he was like talking to me about like the ideas I had for the takeover, the things I wanted to do next. And he's like, I don't know if anything, like it would be anything you want to do, but like you guys just have to talk. Like you would just connect and have good ideas and whatnot. So actually the last morning, Sunday morning, just before I left, I met with Eric on the floor, and he just was like one of the most genuine, nice, like fun to talk to dudes ever. And we just hit it off, and he pitched to me the idea of taking the takeover there. Basically whenever I like wanted to, because he knew that he was really clear that since I had built my platform on Twitter, he didn't want to take me away from Twitter. He just wanted me to join in on the team and see what I thought of it and do it. And I had my first Loop live last Thursday, and it was awesome. Like,
Was it? Yeah.
yeah, it was so fun. It really, like, I love doing them on Twitter, but it was so fun, like talking to people like live in a chat and being able to banter back and forth. Like my personality was really able to come out. I was able to joke around with people and have fun. And it's just like a new challenge for me because I love taking things from, I mean, obviously they're not at zero. They have their own community going.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I'm this new guy coming in. Like most of the people that bought from me were like, I've never heard of you before, which is awesome to me because I love taking something from zero and then seeing what kind of community I can build out of it. So I'm excited to do it even more. Like I'm only doing it once a week for now, but I might try to find a way to do it more.
Yeah. Hey, I think he mentioned that, I don't know if it was from you, that he had record sales and stuff just this past week. I don't know if it was Thursday, but
That's
listen,
wild.
it can't hurt to have you because everybody knows DMN. I mean, listen, I don't know who doesn't know DMN take over. And I was like, what does DMN stand for, by the way?
So it's literally just my initials, Daniel
Okay.
Michael Nofi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I thought it was that simple, but I wasn't sure. All right. So I got to ask. And some people, Mark Hoyle, another Twitter friend, I said, if you have any questions for Dan, let me know. What are your thoughts on Fanatics taking over in 2023? He had some interesting, real deep questions. Will it affect distribution? Will people have, what do you think? I mean, I don't know that you know. Will people have the ability to buy from them? If they're buying directly from them, will this lower the cost of customers? Could it push more people to vintage? Those are basically Mark's thoughts. So what are you thinking about what Fanatics could do, might do?
Yeah. So I'll try my best to answer to his questions, in my opinion, but
Sure.
I'm not really sure. I'm pretty lost on what will happen on the distribution side of things. I mean, I assume that it will be a lot of direct buying from them because kind of like, why wouldn't it be? We already saw the way that they did their like Fanatic sets online and how that worked. But I don't think that's going to like wipe out blowout cards or GTS. You know, like there's just such large established distribution, or a Dave and Adams card world, just like things like those. Like I don't see them going anywhere. So I think it's hard to say. And that's the thing that I think like makes people so nervous is that we just don't really know. But when I think about the way people acted, even when Panini took over so much initially, I remember I even looked back to make sure I wasn't just making this up in my head. I looked at the old blogs, like when they announced that, and people's commentary on like how this was now the downfall of the hobby. They're taking over too much. How can we let someone have such exclusivity? Prism is going to suck compared to Chrome. Like all the things.
Yeah.
So this just feels like a repeat moment to me, and I'm always willing to like give someone a chance. And I really don't think that they will. They're not going to purposefully butcher it. There's a lot of money involved, and they know that it's backed by the hobby. Like without us, they wouldn't be able to do this.
Correct.
So they're not going to purposely mess it up for us. But I get why people have their fears. It's always different when change comes in, and seemingly such big change. I do think for those people with those fears, to speak to his question too, that it will make them go even further into vintage, at least until they start feeling out how it's going with the modern stuff that Fanatics puts out. And I think it will put, at least for like the people that consider themselves, I mean, I'm going to use these words just because the internet uses these words, but like flippers and investors and collectors.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I think investors and flippers might split even more, where the investors look at the vintage as a more sturdy thing. The flippers, I don't really know if they know what they're going to do, just because they can't even flip the same way they were doing like at the beginning of the pandemic. So it's all like up in the air right now. But my personal opinion is they won't purposefully mess it up. They're not like the big bad guy, I don't think.
Right.
And we don't really know until it starts playing out. That's the thing. Like we got this news, and it's still not going to happen for a while.
That's right.
Like,
exactly. It's we're you know, and I'm sure that all the reactors have reacted already. And like you said that when they did before, oh my gosh, Panini, but nobody knows. Nobody knows. We have to wait and see. And the hope is that, they know what they're getting into with this huge market. I think I read that Fanatics is a $38 billion company. I mean, so if the cynic in me says, well, are they going to really put that much into it? They don't need the money, right? They don't need it. So will they do it half-assed, if you will? Or do they know how important it is to the hobby and how the hobby has grown since the pandemic? And obviously we don't know what's going to happen 2 years hence. But, yeah, I'm hoping that the quality is as good as these chrome I showed you. I mean, this is crazy. And we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting.
My other thought in my head too is that I obviously don't know the logistics now of like what exactly Topps can do, but I assume that they can do similar things as to like when Upper Deck lost their licenses and could still do. I don't know, but I like to think in my head too that should Topps and Panini whatever they can under the new rules, or should Topps and Panini ever get some of these licenses back, that it also makes them step up their game in the arenas where people had complaints about them before too, now that they've tasted the loss of the things. Because the other fact is too, like, people had plenty of complaints about what Topps and Panini were doing in their own ways. So I just feel like it's so hard. Like, you're not going to make everyone happy, but I hope and want to give them the chance to do well by the hobby. Yeah, let's just wait and see what happens. It's not happening for 2 years, and we'll see what happens, right? We'll just see what happens. Yeah, you have an opinion. We all have opinions, and that's what it is right now. Unless you're on the inside, and I don't know that any of us are. All right. So I want to find out from you. So, who are your favorite teams? Favorite teams? Football-wise, I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan first and a Minnesota Vikings fan second, which weirds out people that live in my state, but it's whatever. It's been that way since I was a child. Well, so. That's your great-grandmother, right? Yeah, exactly. And then basketball, I would say I'm a Minnesota Timberwolves fan. It's not been easy to watch them so much, but there's players I'm excited about on the team for sure. Okay. I like the Hawks just because I've been such a big Trae Young fan since he was in college. I've always followed Andrew Wiggins' career, so that makes me watch the Warriors now. And then baseball, I don't so much dabble in. I just kind of watch whenever. If I do, I guess I would just accept the Twins as a homer. I got you. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Gotcha. So your collection is, I mean, you're putting these cards out, and I'm flipping through, and like the first, what was it, a week today, 2 weeks ago? Jalen Hurts, take. Sorry, it's gone. Damn it. Next week, Jalen Hurts. Shoot, I missed it again. But I think you have two of those for me. I think you do. I think I do. Okay, good. Because what I want to do is I want to do them as a giveaway. Get them from you, and then I'll give them away to Eagles fans. If I don't have two for you, which I think I do, we'll figure out getting you a second one. Okay, all right, that's great. I'll wait because I didn't. Yeah, you said I don't know. I have to see. But I want to make that an incentive for Eagles fans to to come on and push you. And hey, this is great. So you do that every other week, every week. How long have you been doing this? Yeah, I was actually going back and trying to see the first time I had ever tweeted out a sale, and it was somewhere around 2014, 2015, but I really didn't know what I was doing at that time. Mm-hmm. Like it was like. Oh man, it was a mess. There was this website that doesn't even exist anymore for sports cards, and I had posted a bunch of listings there, and then I would post the link onto Twitter and tell people that if they bought it through me on Twitter, I would give them a discount off of the listing that was made. And it was the slowest process ever. Nobody cared. I'm pretty sure I sold like $5 worth in the first 2 weeks. And then it just slowly developed into more and more. But at that time too, I had a separate full-time job. So this was just I'd get off the shift. I mean, my kid had just been born at that time. So I'd sometimes have her like sleeping on me while I'm typing on the laptop. And then eventually I started scaling back from that job and then switched over to this full-time in about the end of 2017, I think. Okay. and I've just been going hard at it ever since.
You have. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and the prices. I mean, I'm looking at these going because that Jalen Hurts is like, yeah, take it. No, take it. I mean, golly, holy mackerel. And then I bought some other stuff, mostly baseball stuff from you, and it's just fun because you're not. And I think most people on Twitter, on the Twitter family with the hobby, they're not gouging people. And that's a beautiful thing, and it's easy and it's fun. And, I've never done trades. I just like to buy because I got a crap load. We just moved. I got a whole closet full of baseball cards I got to go through. Oh, my God. But how many do you have, do you think?
Oh my gosh. My wife was asking me this the other day.
Is that right? Yeah.
I mean, for starters, I accept a lot of consignment nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
In the summer, I stopped by a local guy's house to pick up a consignment of about, I want to say it was like 73,000 cards. So that alone, I know I'm in the six-figure count once it's all together. Beyond that, I have no idea. And I have so many binders full of my personal collection cards, and man, I don't know. But one of our there's an office / used to be bedroom in our house that's just completely my inventory space. So yeah.
Oh gosh, you might need to move to a bigger spot, Dan. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
All right, listen. I appreciate you coming on. It's great to meet you finally, even in this setting.
Yeah.
Again, keep doing what you're doing. At DMN Takeover, folks. Look him up. Find him on Twitter. Follow. Lots of good sales that come out. And your schedule said what? Is it? Today's Tuesday. Is it Thursday this week? Tuesday and Thursday was?
So Thursday night I'll be live on Loop, and I plan on doing Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time on Loop each week. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, I go live at 10 a.m. Central Time and go till about 5 p.m. Central Time.
Great. Yeah, you're busy on the computer. That's great.
Yeah.
Great. And I'm there most of the time.
Yeah, you are.
You see me. And too many times I hear sorry, because I'm.
Oh, I hate when I have to say that to people.
I know. I'm doing something else. I'm like, oh, she's doing it again. I scrolling through and I go back to your main link and I go, okay, what I missed. Nobody's taken it yet. Boom, good. I got it. So you got to be quick sometimes, folks. You got to be quick. All right, Dan, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's very nice to meet you. And
it's so nice to meet you too. I really appreciate it. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And continued success with what you're doing.
Thank you. Have a good night, Mitch.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, that was a great conversation. Folks, quickly, a plug for Captain Lou coming on at 8 o'clock right after me. He's got a show that will include the following, and I need to find it because I got Emily Neyman coming on, and I can't wait to talk to her because I know she's going a little nutty with the Yankee game starting really soon. So I got to let me find Lou. Where is Lou? Here we go. I'm going to find him and give him a shout out because you may know somebody else that's coming on tonight. Let's see. Where is Lou's show for this evening? Oh, there he is. All right. So 8 o'clock on Zingo, channel 761. If you're watching, that's what you're on, or Twitter or whatever. Oh, look at that. 8:30. That's me. I'll be on talking MLB postseason. So you get to hear me again if you want, if you're not sick of me yet. Then he's got Kurt Homesser, I don't know if it's right, of the Buffalo Rumblings, talking NFL and the Buffalo Bills, and his Captain Lou Six-Pack Challenge. So 8:30, I'll be talking to Lou about the Major League Baseball postseason, the game tonight, the game tomorrow. 9, he's got Kurt Haumesser 88 of Buff Rumblings, talking NFL and Buffalo Bills, and his Six-Pack Challenge. All right, like I said, game tonight starting in 30 minutes. I have somebody coming on in just a second. Emily Neyman. Emily is the host of the Breaks Balls pod. I love that name. She's going to come on and talk about how she's feeling about. Oh, there she is. How she's feeling about the Yankee game. Hi, Emily. How are you?
Hey, Mitch, I'm great. Thanks. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm really relaxed because my team ain't in the playoffs.
It must be nice. Well, not really. I don't.
Yeah, right. You know how that is, right? So, how you feeling? Are you nervous?
Yeah, I am actually very nervous. Very nervous. I mean, this team has been making me feel nervous since, I don't know, like game 15 of the season or maybe
Mhm.
game 5. So I would think that that would have prepared me for today, considering it was 162 games of pain, but it has not prepared me. And I am very nervous, a lot more nervous than I was expecting.
I don't think it. You have to be nervous. I mean, if it was the Phillies, I'd be going crazy. There's no way I could be relaxed. And every pitch. See, are you the same way? When your team is in it, and somebody, for me, I dissect every freaking pitch. I was like, you missed the. Oh my god, why are you throwing him that? Do you do that too?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh,
I
good. Okay.
am hanging on every single pitch, and tonight is not going to be any different. It's going to be worse.
Right.
So it's really funny when you asked me to be on the show, I was really excited. I wasn't even thinking about how I would feel in this
Mhm.
half hour leading up to first pitch.
Yes.
So you really got me in a sweet spot right here that I am in rare form for a
Good.
guest spot.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Well, that's kind of why I saw that. I said, this would be actually perfect. 7:30, going to lead her right up to the damn game, and she's going to be crazed. So be crazy if you want. It's fine. Who's got the edge tonight, Emily? Who do you think? Is there any edge? Tough.
Beyond the Red Sox being able to walk it off, of course, the home team, they have that edge, but this is the Yankees' game to lose, in my opinion. I mean, on paper, they're the better team, and now, especially with the, and I truly mean this, the unfortunate injury to JD Martinez, because you never want to see a guy get hurt. I think that puts the Yankees even more in the driver's seat. Not that Dalbec is that terrible of a backup for him, but I think that the Yankees are the better team, and that this is their game to lose.
Okay. I looked up the lineups. Listen, let's go back to this season. Boston getting that early lead and taking it, and I was like, what the hell? It was like the Giants, and the Giants never let up. And in Philly, we're crazed because, Gabe Kapler. But nobody thought the Red Sox were going to do what they had done. And then everybody, the Yankees, the fans were getting ready to fire Boone at the All-Star break, right? So give me your thoughts about the beginning of the year, the middle, and then how it ended.
I mean, I'm still waiting for the Giants to come back down to earth. I guess it's not going to happen since they won the division by 106 games. And I mean, it was disappointing. It was very disappointing. The team was supposed to be the division winner. The Rays were supposed to be not good. The Red Sox were supposed to be not good.
Right.
And I guess probably by July 4th, because I was unfortunately in the house when Chapman gave up a go-ahead home run to, I think it was Pete Alonso in the late innings of the doubleheader. That was when I was like, okay, this team is for real garbage, and I think I have to come to accept it. So everything after that has been gravy. When they went on that win streak, it was like, and I'm not going to sit here and act like they're underdogs, because they're not. They still have the same lineup that they were projected to have when they were going to be the division winners. But for the fans, for me, it feels that way because I believed in this team. I don't want to say I wrote them off completely, but I did not necessarily, it wouldn't have surprised me if they didn't make it here. So since they have, I feel like we're playing with house money at this point because they were so abysmal for so many stretches during the season.
It's true. I mean, and again, you heard all that. You heard, you watched, you listened, and get rid of Boone, and this team sucked. Now, they did have injuries. So everybody does, but listen, they're there. It's a one-gamer tonight, which is so freaking exciting. It's awesome, and I don't really care. But I am rooting for the Red Sox. Why? Because no one likes. Who likes the Yankees? Whatever. I mean, the Yankees are the bad team. Their fans are crazy and nutty, and like our Philly fans aren't either.
Yeah, I was going to say Phillies.
Hello.
Come on.
Yeah, I know. But I look down at Boston's lineup, and they gotta listen. Devers and Bogarts and oh my gosh, they what a year! I was looking at the stats before the show started. I mean, yes, the big guys from the Yankees also had, but Devers. I mean, how many? I said 117 RBIs. I saw. I mean, these guys played freaking amazingly this whole season. Even though they led and they dropped down and Tampa Bay took the division, they weren't supposed to be here, like you said.
Yeah, Matt Barnes really stepped up for them in particular because guys like Devers, guys like Bogarts, they're expected to play well, just like Judge, just like Stanton, regardless of how everyone else does. But I think that their bullpen and their starting pitching really stepped up because that's, teams live and die by their starting pitching and their bullpen. So
Absolutely.
when that is supposed to be mediocre to below average, that's when it's like, all right, this team is not going to be that good. So that's what stepped up for them. And I mean, it seems like Matt Barnes has kind of come back down to earth because that's a tough, 162 games. They play that much for a reason because that's how they separate the league with razor thin disparity in talent. So I am really banking on that. I'm banking on their starting pitching. Evaldi did not pitch well against us last time, but Cole also didn't have a good start the last few times. So I'm not going to try to ride that train too hard because I feel like it blows back in my face because of how Cole has done. So
Yes,
I'm just running on fumes here, Mitch, if you haven't noticed. I am on fumes right now.
I feel you. I pulled up ESPN and the lineups. Yes, you got Cole going and Eovaldi. I remember, when was Eovaldi so damn good? What was that, 3 years ago? I mean, the guy was phenomenal when he pitched. I don't think he had a good year or did he even play last year? I don't remember. But I know that he has the potential. Let's put it that way. And we know what Cole's potential is. Interesting stat that somebody put out is that Rizzo and Schwarber are both leading off, right? The first time that players who played on the same team are leading off in the playoffs, something like that. Isn't that crazy?
There's always a stat for everything in baseball. It's one of the things I love most about it.
I read that. I saw this. That's a great stat. Who would ever thought of that? Well, there are people that do that.
Cubs fans are weeping.
Yeah. The poor Cubs. Listen, they got their championship. I was happy they got it. I was happy when Boston won finally. I know. Do you know that you remember were you old enough to remember when the Red Sox were down 3-0?
Yes, I was 17 years old. Actually, no, I was 18. It was my freshman year of college. So yeah, I remember. Embarrassingly enough.
Ooh. Oh, that was tough, man. I was tough. Tough for Yankees fans. Oh my gosh. All right, so let's go over the lineup. You got Rizzo, Judge and Rice, Stanton DHing, Joey Gallo. He's batting 199. Playing left field. Was that and DJ's out, and that's a big loss, right?
Yeah, DJ being out has been tough. I mean, the only thing that has sort of softened that blow is that he's clearly been playing hurt all year, so he regressed big time from what he was in 2019 and 2020. So it's not like he was 2020 DJ who was, top 3 MVP vote getter. So it makes it a little less, but it's still, he's key to the lineup. He's always has the potential to make something happen. So it's a big loss.
Yeah, huge loss. Glaber at 259. I mean, again, and I'm looking at Urshela. Oh, jeez. I mean, that guy going into the dugout on the weekend, and you don't blame I mean, it's baseball. That's the way baseball is played. But really, nobody even got up to hold him. I mean, I was like, geez, what do they do? Oh, my God, this is okay. This is what the rivalry is about, right, Emily?
Yeah, it's so true. And my thing was that it was a very tense game. The Rays, I never expected them to let up. I'm glad they didn't. They still have something to play for, and that they're trying to maybe control who they play moving forward. So I get it. But with that being said, they didn't have anything to play for. You're not going to catch this guy as he falls on his face in the concrete dugout.
What are you doing? He could have had a head injury or something. It's like, And we're like, okay, whatever. We might be playing him, so what do we care?
Yeah, exactly.
A very clutch player to watch out for, Mr. Brett Gardner.
Oh, Gardy.
He's come up big a lot, and he's the one that I think, gotta watch. You know,
I agree. I mean, and I've got on Gardy a lot this year. I've gotten on him a lot past years. I thought that his time with the team had expired, but man, he's still got a little bit of pop.
he does, yeah.
Especially after the foreign substance rule came into effect. Seemed that he was getting burned on that inside fastball that wouldn't drop. Now that it's starting to drop, he has started to pick up his offense, and he can still pick him up and put him down pretty good. He moves around the bases pretty quickly. So
Yeah. So and he's a veteran, like most of these guys are. So they've pretty much all been there. Go to the lineup with the Red Sox. You got Schwarber, 71 RBIs. Enrique Kike Hernandez at 250. Devers 113 RBIs. 279. Bogarts 295. Schwarber 32 homers. Devers 38. Bogart 23. Alex Verdugo 63 RBIs. 289. And these guys have played the whole year. They haven't been hurt. Over 500 at bats for all of them. Hunter Renfroe 96 RBIs. So listen. It's going to be. I think it's going to be competitive. It's going to be fun to watch, like I said, because I don't have any skin in the game. How you feeling right now? We got 18 minutes to go.
I mean, it's when hearing you read all that off, and I'm just sitting here watching the time tick. It all depends on Garrett Cole, because all those RBI numbers are impressive. But hey, the thing about RBI is that it's team dependent. So those RBI totals don't mean much if no one gets on base ahead of these guys. So it all comes down to Cole, and this is why they got him. He's a big game pitcher. Yep, this is what you pay for, and.
Yep.
I don't need him to be complete. I don't need him to be that game against the Astros, 9 innings, 120 pitches, shutout. I don't need that. I need him to just keep them in this game. So I'm not going to get upset if they touch him up and they score 2-3 runs off him, because this offense should be able to score more than 2 or 3 runs, especially off Evaldi, and especially off their bullpen. So if they can get past Evaldi, they can knock him around a little bit, knock him out of the game. I would imagine that core is going to try to keep him in as long as possible.
Yep.
And that's why hopefully they have the same game plan that they did when they faced him a week and a half ago. They scored 7 runs off him in 2.2 innings. So hopefully they can make something like that happen, obviously. I'm like, hopefully my team will score a lot of runs early.
That's right. And that's tough. Listen, that one-game playoff, that puts a lot of pressure on that team that gets scored upon. Speaking of pressure, who's got the most? I mean, it's at Fenway, right? So there's a little bit of pressure to win there. The Yankees have, as we talked about, they got there, not what it was supposed to be, but you look at the New York press and the fans and Aaron Boone. Do you think, listen, if they lose this, does Aaron Boone still have a job?
Yeah, I think he does. I don't think that they're going to get rid of Boone. I don't necessarily think, I don't think that the season struggles are his fault in that, sure, has he made some questionable decisions? Yes. But are there any managers in the league that don't make questionable decisions over 162 games? I don't know about that. So I think that he has more job security than the fan base thinks.
Interesting. All right, we'll see what happens. So what happens? Okay, so they beat the Red Sox tonight. They play Tampa. What are you thinking there?
I mean, something I didn't consider, because, they played in the divisional series last year, came down to the 5th game, 1 swing in the 8th inning that separated them. Except that was in beautiful San Diego in a neutral site. The Yankees, historically, they don't play that well in the Tropicana field, and I don't think anyone plays that well besides the Rays at Tropicana. So that's what makes me most nervous is games on the road, and especially if it comes down to it that, a game 5 would be on the road. But I've seen them beat Tampa before. They went down there. The last road trip down there, I believe they either swept or they won the series. So they have shown that they can beat Tampa in Tampa this year. But let's get past tonight first before I start worrying about Game 5 in Tampa.
Don't you love though the best the best out of five to preclude the preview the NLCS or ALCS? I love it. It's like
Yeah.
it's quick.
Yeah,
And you
I
get
love the 3-game wild card last year too. I think it
That
doesn't
was
give any
fun.
team any better chance, but it still is fun to see a little bit,
Yeah.
a few more games.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about the National League if we can. Um, I hate to talk about the Phillies; it's so depressing. Um, I was going to talk about Harper.
I love
Um,
Harper.
do you think now and you talked about RBIs, right? And that was the issue with. I think Bryce set the record for most solo home runs in a row. I think it was like 18 in a row solo home runs this year. Like, geez, can we get somebody on base for him? I mean, God. Do you think he's the MVP?
I mean, yeah, I think he is. I think he would get my first place vote. It's tough between he and Soto, and not to discredit Tatis, who's had an unbelievable season, but I think that he's the clear third place guy in this. And Bryce has been that guy all year, and Soto has been too, but I believe Soto's missed some time. And I
Yes.
think Bryce has played more games, and Bryce has just maintained a Bryce Harper pace since the beginning of the season without any dips and facing some adversity too. I mean, the team was supposed to be better than it ended up being, and it didn't really deter him. That he and Zach Wheeler stayed focused, and they were the players that the team needed them to be, even when guys like McCutchen wasn't the player that they wanted him to be. Who was it? I think who got hurt? Hoskins?
Yep.
Yeah,
That was the
Hoskins.
killer.
So
That hurt.
exactly. Yeah, that was like the dagger. That was it.
He was playing when he first came up, Reese Hoskins baseball. He was on it. He was seeing the ball well, and he was knocking the crap out of the ball. It was awesome. And then then it becomes okay. You got to be the Bryce Harper show. Now Bryce did start slow. We were wondering when he was going to start, but typically, as it always happens, he got hot after the All-Star break. He just freaking turned it on, and he didn't stop. Except for the series in Atlanta, which he didn't win. I think he was 0 for this first 12, and by then it was over. But it was so hard to take. Here's the thing. And people say, well, what do you have to do with the Phillies to fix it? Well, if you look at the blown saves, 34, and if you take it, cut it in half, okay. Well, they win the division.
Yeah, especially
Easy.
this year, that division.
They
It
win the
was up
division.
for grabs.
Oh, it's so hard, and that's what I keep bringing it up when I get ill when I think about it, because they could have been there. Now Nola wasn't the guy, but Ranger Suarez stepped up. Who would have thought Ranger? We had no idea. This is the one guy the Phillies have developed during the season that I have ever seen, because he came out of he was a starter, went to the bullpen, and they said, he's got starter material. We're going to bring him along, and man, did he show up! Holy mackerel! So we're looking at, we don't know what's going to, so Joe Dillon gets fired, the batting coach. What about the pitching coach, Caleb Coughlin? What happened to Aaron Nola? Now, Cole Hamels had a bad year after a championship year, right? We know that. And then he came back. So that's the hope that Aaron Nola finds himself and pitches and wins 15 to 17 games. Then you got a Wheeler, a Nola, a Suarez, and a Kyle Gibson, who's a serviceable 4 or 5, and Eflin, who has really pitching well. He came out of it. He came through this year, and then he got this knee problem. So, pitching is huge, as we both know.
Can I ask you a question about Nola?
Yeah.
Now, I watched that game, and this is obviously a small sample size of one game, but I watched the game where you guys were in San Diego. He pitched a gem, and Girardi kept him in the ninth inning to face Cronenworth, Machado, and Tatis Jr. And, of course, things unraveled quickly. I think Cronenworth hit a game-tying home run, and then they end up losing that game either later that inning or in the 10th inning. Do you feel that, and that was probably that was either end of July, August, it was sometime in the second half of the season. Do you feel that decisions like that by Girardi And I can understand on one hand why he did it because the bullpen is shaky, but on the other hand, how does that affect Nola's confidence? He's pitching one of the best games he's pitched all season, maybe in his life, and you leave him out there too long, hanging him out to dry, basically. And for a competitor, I would imagine it erases everything he did in the 9.2 or the 8.2 innings before that, and that's now where he's going into his next start with that memory. Do you feel that sort of thing can affect him? And had that effect on him?
I think it has. I honestly feel like it has. And I don't know that anybody is there to help him out of it because it went on, Emily, all freaking year. Pitch started well, and then he was, he ended up 500, right? Up and down and up. How can you lose it? How can you go from one game to the next and nobody available to say, hey, Aaron, let's look at your mechanics, or hey, let's look, what are we doing here? What's happening? To me, that's a confidence. Yes, it's a combination of confidence and having that lack of confidence because nobody was there to help him figure it out.
And also, I feel Girardi too. That I think that one of the reasons that he and the Yankees parted ways was because of the direction that the organization was headed in, as far as a more analytical approach, trying to keep up with the league. So I feel like that maybe the Phillies can. I don't know. This is the way the game is going, whether people like it or not. So I don't know about the continuing to keep Girardi on. If he's going to not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not really expressing myself well because we are about 9 minutes from this pitch. But I feel like Girardi may be also, I don't want to give too much credit to the managers because they don't have as much of a impact, but it does start with them. They're the ones who are like managing the clubhouse.
Yeah. He made some bad decisions. Yes. I think he came to this team because he had success, but we forgot that he didn't have players that they had it with the Yankees.
Yeah, 4 Hall of Famers or whatever.
He didn't have that experience. And now he's sitting there and he's getting mad at the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year, at the writer. If people are asking questions, don't tell me. I'm not telling you this. He once said, one game, that's it. This is as far as I'm going. I'm not telling you. You're not getting any more information. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, like, this is your job, bro.
No, this is your job. Yes, this is your job. Tell us what happened. So he, to me, is going to stay on. I think there was an article written by Matt Gelb, an affiliate, that talked about the organizational issues that they've had. Minor league development, player development, not meshing scouts and player development, totally not on the same page. Totally.
Which is a problem.
So Don Mattingly's son is now the director of player or scouting or whatever. And hopefully, and I heard from one of the huge baseball guys, I forget who it was, that he is known in the arena as being a good one to get because he can help fix this system. But when you have people not talking to each other in the minor leagues in the development process and scouting, you wonder why the Phillies scouting and development has been like crap for the last several years. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. So it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening. Dombrowski, you got a little core. If the NL goes to the DH, which I hope they do, that's where Reese needs to go. Then I would hope that maybe they're thinking of bringing Bone back at third. That's not going to work for me. Or in the outfield, you put him at first base. You got Segura. You get rid of Didi. Bring up this kid Bryson Scott. Or I'm trying to think of who else. You get rid of McCutchen. Odubel. Who knows what's going to happen with him? And you got Bryson Wright. JT catching. We need a backup catcher. Knapp sucks. So that's my roundup for that. But yeah, I think Girardi is to blame. I said, hey, he's good for 10 wins. Didn't happen. 10 wins gets him in the playoffs. 10 more wins, 10 less losses gets him in the playoffs. He didn't help at all, really. So all right, I'm gonna let you go so you can get prepped properly for your game. Are you gonna be tweeting out during the game?
Oh my God, yeah. I might set a tweets per hour record tonight.
I will be on watching you. I'm going to wait for your reactions. I can't wait. Emily.
You will get it every
Oh,
second of the game.
So, Emily, you are host of Break Balls Pod?
It's the Breaking Balls podcast.
Breaking Balls Podcast, yes. And you
Yeah.
talk about?
We talk about everything. My cousin is my co-host. He's a big Mets fan, so we talk about the Yankees, talk about the Mets, we talk about our respective divisions. But as you can see, we'll talk about. I love the Padres. I watch basically all of their games. We talk about NL West. We talk about everything, every team. All I do is watch baseball during the season, so that's really all I have to offer people in conversation. So my podcast is great if you are a baseball fan of any team.
I mean, we need to look that up. She does it. Right? She does it. That's
yes, Adam,
you.
she does it.
I love that. She does it. Emily, best of luck to you tonight with your team.
Thank you, Mitch. This has been great.
Thank you for coming on.
Anytime.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Pleasure was all mine. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Have fun tonight. Hopefully.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
take
you.
care.
Bye.
All right, that was great. Emily Neyman at She Does It. Thank you for coming on. It was great. She's going to be nervous. I'm not sure. I forgot to ask her what she'll be drinking. I don't know if she will be, but she might. Dan from DMN Takeover was terrific. And Gardner Valley Captains. Thank you, guys. That was great. I'm so glad you were able to come on. Shane, Max, CJ, Nolan, you were terrific. Go get another win this Friday against Radnor. Real quickly, if you go on betus.com, you can find another platform that you can use to make a wager. So check them out. If you register there, mention the Burn Mitch, and I will get credit. There's a little contest going on amongst the station, so feel free to do that. And I'm glad you were able to tune in tonight, folks. I really appreciate it. I love this format. I love having my guests on. Real quickly, next week, I have two guests. Coach Mike will be on again, talking about Garden Valley. But my other guest next week, this is great. Nick Davis, the producer and director of the Mets 30 for 30 on ESPN about the 86 Mets, he's going to be on. And then our old friend Brendan Deeg will be on talking about the Eagles after I see them. Who knows if they're going to win or lose? They could win. They could lose. In Charlotte this weekend. I will be at the game. So that's my guest next week. Coach Mike Rickey, Nick Davis, the producer and director for the ESPN 30 for 30 about the New York Mets in '86, that team, and Brendan Deeg talking Eagles, football, and NFL. Appreciate you being here. Captain Lou is next at 8 o'clock. I will be there by voice only, I believe, talking about the playoffs. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I'll see you here. Zingo TV channel 761, 12ouncesportsnetwork.com/live next week. This has been Mitch Bernstein on 12 Ounce Sports with the Burn with Mitch. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.